Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Formula Online Racing for round 16 of this incredibly close PlayStation 4 Season 1. Only 6 races remaining, including tonight's, and only 6 points separating the top 2 of the championship. It is Josh currently in the lead, but he knows it could have been a lot more. He had the pace to win in Singapore. One slight mistake coming out of the pit lane damaged his front wing. He had to make an extra pit stop, and it was Fairhan who took the victory. So Josh, he'll be hoping to bounce back tonight around the Sochi Autodrome for the Russian Grand Prix. Joining myself, Luke, once again, is Jess. And Jess, if Josh can carry on the form that he showed last week, he's going to be hard to beat because he was mightily quick, but he must still be ruining that mistake. We saw how downhearted he was in the interview afterwards.
Yeah, he was a bit disappointed, and I think the pressure just got to him, really, because he was really dominant in all the qualifying sessions. He took pole, obviously, he set fastest laps as well, and there was quite a few wins since we had a safety car as well, so that brought him back in the picture, but he can't make too many more mistakes, because that could cost him a possible title, because obviously we've got Westy that's probably nipping out their heels. And one thing to point out as well, Paulie Orange, he had a horrible result last week, only 12th place, and one of his second results outside the top 10, but he got a fastest lap point anyway. But when I started, he was leading the championship. Now he's only in third place behind Westy, so he needs a bit of waking up tonight. So hopefully he can improve on this Sochi Autodrome circuit.
Yeah, Sochi Autodrome, first used in 2014. It is around the 2014 Winter Olympic Park. 18 corners. Lots of those 90-degree right-handers, especially in the final sector. Very similar to the final sector, in fact, that we had in Singapore. 5.848 kilometres. That is around about 3.7 miles. It'll be 27 laps, but first of all, we have got a full qualifying session. And Josh and Westy, the two main title protagonists, getting out on track early. I think it's fair to say, Jess, Sochi is not really one of the drivers' favourites, but it can be a very challenging circuit.
Yeah, it is quite challenging, really. It is classified as a street circuit in a way, but there aren't any gravel tracks to swallow your car if you go off the circuit. Just a little bit of a run-off area, really. And overtaking isn't easy, really. And it is some of the corners are very, very tricky. In particular, I would say to turns 5 and 6, the 90-degree corners around there, because you've got to be careful to not try and get as close as you can to the outside curbing, but you may think it's an overtaking spot, but it definitely isn't. And I think there's only 2 DRS straights, and potentially turns 10 and to 12 is potential overtaking spot, and possibly turns 1 and 2, but they may prove us wrong tonight, so hopefully they will.
Yeah, as you said, just 2 DRS, and really, there's not really one massive long straight here. First DRS point coming straight after turn 1, and then the second is on that back straight that you can just see straight after the 2 on the track map as we're watching Westy set his first lap in this qualifying session. So we'll talk you around this fairly new circuit to the F1 calendar. It's just heading round 8 and 9. Now, braking hard for turn 10, it's very important to get this corner right, and Sochi, with there being no gravel trap and no real punishment for running wide, expect to see a lot of penalties tonight. Coming flat out through turn 11, DRS open on the Williams as you have to brake and turn at turn 12. So those drivers that are not using ABS, expect to see quite a few lockups heading there into 13. Now you've got all these 90-degree corners to end the lap where you really don't want to push too hard and run wide, as you will cost yourself chunks of time trying to retain the racing line. See now Westy, there's that pit exit entry. Very tricky to get that right as well if you try to push as hard as possible in the race. Flooring the car out of turn 18. It's a 1:34.477 for Westy in the Williams. We said he's second in the championship at the moment. If we have a look through the Constructors' Championship, Williams are also second, but Josh getting points last time out. And NUF1, who was reserving in the Renault last time out. Tonight we have Vitinho reserving in the Renault. Renault now have a 41-point lead over Williams. So the Constructors' Championship has been really close, but it does look like the yellow and black cars from Enstone are just beginning to pull away a bit. Do have a few reserve drivers to mention tonight. We've even had one of us say hello in the chat. BMS Roulé F1, he is driving for the Haas. So replacing Irish Nude Potato tonight. We've also, as we've said, got Vitinho replacing Pedro for this evening. Cassie G is in place of Loney, and Michael Pace is in place of Artiero. We have got one very interesting debutant as well, who's full-time for the rest of the season, who's just set a 131.703 on the medium tyres. Louis, in the Red Bull, we've seen him in other leagues, he is one fast driver.
Yeah, he is, and I think some people would call him as a pad OP as well. He's mega quick. Honestly, he's been brilliant on this game. Most of the leagues he's won the title for, which is amazing. Obviously, some of the leagues he's made mistakes, but obviously he's still getting used to a no line. I'm not sure if he's running line in this league or not. Most probably he is, but yeah, that is something to watch out for, because obviously he's not going to be in a title fight, but Josh and Westy still are going to be. So if Louis actually wins the race tonight, this could not go well for the likes of Westy that wants to close the gap to Josh maybe, and this could be really intriguing to say the least.
Yeah, you've got Josh Westy, and let's not forget Thomas, who still really got a chance. He could do with the others slipping up, but he's 67 points behind at the moment. He's just gone fastest with a 131.021 as Ruley goes into 11th place. Thomas does have a qualifying 2 ban though from incidents early on in Italy after that crash he had into the back of Furhan, but he's already won 2 races this season, starting from well down the field, so I'm sure starting in 15 won't be too much of a problem for him, because let's not forget, if you start outside of the top 10 you do get a fresh choice of tyres in the race, as Furhan in the Mercedes 131.220 fully admits last week he was not the fastest driver, but he just kept it clean while some of those around them faltered, and it was a fantastic performance. His second win of the season, but his first as a full-time driver for the Mercedes team.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully he can improve his confidence as well. He's ninth in the standings, and hopefully he can add to his race victories as well. And he's 41 points, not that far from Jonathan Cox as well, who is obviously still yet to set a lap time. But yeah, we can see some intriguing battles there as well. And I think, like we said earlier, Russia is one of those tracks where penalties could decide someone's race. And if Furhan is one of those guys that could keep clean, then it can work well in his favour tonight.
Yeah, he'll certainly be hoping for a good performance, as well as teammate Droftas, who is returning after missing last week. On board with Jonathan Cox now. He wasn't too happy with the penalty he got in qualifying in Singapore. Got a 5th place penalty after making a mistake in qualifying and then making contact with Glock, and there was not really much the Racing Point driver could do about it, but still recovered to take 6th position. His best result of the season since the Spanish Grand Prix, as Vitinho has been disqualified from the session for going the wrong way. So all I can think is he spun out on track somewhere, and Westy has retired from the session, so I think he's just happy with his lap time. There will be 3 drivers going out, and we now know who one of those is. Vitinho will be starting from the back of the grid.
That is not good at all, especially when you want to prove yourself in this league. But maybe this could work in his favour if he starts at the back. We'll have to wait and see. But you know, and also Thomas is retired as well, so quite a few people are happy with their laps this early on as well. Maybe it's they're telling us something that we don't know, but it is going to be a dry race anyway, so they want to make sure they don't use as much tyres in qualifying, otherwise they won't have as much in the race. As Cassie G said, purple sector 2, that's put in P5 right now, and he's looking to improve on that, but I'm sure he'll be pretty happy with this one, but he may need to go again if he wants to stand this day's chances of going through to Q2.
Yeah, definitely. So he'll be pretty happy with 5th. I think that some of these top guys might already be safe with that. Droftas has gone into 8th, and I've started to become a bit more impressed with his qualifying pace. Was his Achilles heel at the start of the season, really struggling to make it into the top 10 of qualifying, but he seems to have improved his pace lately, even though we have got these faster guys coming into the league, so he'll be fairly happy with how he's doing at the moment. Halfway through this first qualifying session then, it is Thomas, Josh and Furhan top 3 at the moment. Westy 4th, Cassie G 5th, Louis 6th on those medium tyres, so wouldn't surprise me if it's not until Q3 when we really start to see what sort of pace he could do in the Red Bull. He's getting a nice slipstream at the moment off Koala. Looks like these two are definitely communicating. It always helps if you've got that good team relationship.
Yeah, it is, and that is where you could definitely get the toe there as well. But hopefully Louis will remember that there's 3. Oh, and he almost binned it, and obviously, you don't want to bid it around here, and if you know you're definitely going to be safe from qualifying, what's the point in running again, as Louis has just invalidated the lap, so that tyre was probably for nothing now. But if you bin it in qualifying, then that's it, that's your qualifying done. Even if you set a lap time that is good enough to put you into Q2, then it's like real life. If you crash, there's no way that your pit crew are going to have enough time to prepare the car, enough for Q2 and Q3. So maybe these two need to improve a little bit more, but that means that Louis can start to work a little bit more on his lap once again, as I think Koala's just been let back through, of course. But surely he wants to be better than that, and maybe he's got a lot more to prove, hopefully.
Yeah, he'll be hoping that. Koala on the bubble at the moment, but neither him, Alan or Jonathan Cox have set a valid lap time. I don't think the track will get too busy towards the end, so just getting slipstreams off your teammate may be able to help. And of course, Alan now doesn't have the option that Thomas has retired and Jonathan Cox for sole racing points, so could that be enough for Koala? He's flying through the first sector at the moment. He reached about 215 miles per hour at the end of the straight heading into turn 2, so that is around 340 kilometers per hour, really going fast in the Red Bull at the moment. Got points on his debut last time out, and I'm sure he'll be hoping to carry on that record so far in Russia. Looking very fast again through sector 2 on these soft tyres, so will this be good enough to get himself through in the Red Bull? 7 minutes remaining, and he's ran wide as well, not invalidated his lap, but you can just see maybe the tyres overheating a bit, and that can happen in the final sector here. If you push them a bit too hard early on in the lap, don't really give you that purchase into the track that you need around these slow corners.
Yeah, that's for sure. So let's see what Koala could do. 132.1, that puts him 10th place. So I think it's not going to be enough for him to go into the pits and comfortably that he's safe. He's probably going to go out again and make sure he can extract time in the car as well. Alhan's still yet to set a competitive lap time, but surely he wants to get into Q2 in there as well. There's quite a few people in the pits now, a few people about to set their out laps, but it's not going to get as busy in Q1, but I know Q2 is where the nitty-gritty bits of qualifying is going to happen to make sure they can go to the pole sitter shootout, of course. Most people are wanting to get their best result to stand a chance of getting high up in the championship standings coming into the final few races of the season.
Yeah, we are getting now towards the end of the season. Quite a few leagues ending as well, so maybe some of the drivers might get a bit rustier in the final few races. We'll have to see. On board then with Rooley, 15th place at the moment. Needs to find nearly 6/10 of a second to improve. Cassie G, he's happy with his time at the moment. Should be safe on that 131.6. I think Louis might be as well, even though it says he's in the pits waiting on the soft tyre. So I think he's just going to see if any of these guys further down manage to make some big improvements. There will only be 3 drivers going out of this session, and we know Vitinho is one of them after getting disqualified for driving the wrong way. So it looks like if Renault want to extend their Constructors' Championship lead, one of their drivers is going to have a mighty race from the back of the grid. As Rooley comes across the line, he's found a big improvement there of a second. That moves him up into 15th, just behind YBR at the moment. So see if Alan, what time can he do? 17th at the moment. Michael Pace looks like he's heading out unless he can improve on this current lap. He's just coming around the start of sector 2 now, so around turn 10. We'll see what Alan can do around this final sector in the McLaren. Both McLaren drivers looked good in stages this season. Alan, we know he's a very consistent driver. He's shown that time and time again. Always seems to keep it clean. Always seems to be in and around the points. What can he do this time out? Goes into 11th position. He's getting a bit close in that midfield there.
Yeah, it is, and it could make all the difference in the championship standings. We've got 11th down to 15th, separated by 1 second. That's amazing, and even 16th places quite close as well in that bubble to either staying or going out of qualifying. So it just shows any little mistake can cost you, and everyone's set at lap time now, but for some of these guys, they probably won't be safe right now, as YBR almost certainly will need to go into the pits, and so will Hibilu in the Toro Rosso, and Denji in the Alfa Romeo, of course. And pretty much everyone from, I think, 10th downwards, down to 17th, I think will probably need to go again. Everybody else, I think, should be safer now, but you never know, surprises could happen.
Yeah, Louis and Fairhan are feeling they need to go for another lap, and this one from Louis could be mighty. May even be the first man to get into the 1 minute 30s because he's going for the soft tyres. So I'm not sure if he needs to do this. I'm really not sure if Furhan needs to go out again, but he is just carrying on the older softs from earlier. But Furhan at the moment 1.7 seconds above the drop zone, so those guys would have to find absolutely superhuman improvement if they want to get higher up. And again, it looks like the Red Bulls, judging by the track map, are going to try and do this double slipstream to help each other out. Furhan has retired from the session now, so he's happy with 3 minutes to go. See there, Louis, as we expected, faster in the first sector. It is the final sector of this lap where you'll really see the huge improvements because of the extra traction of these soft tyres, as long as you can keep it clean. Around the first 2/3 of the lap though, there's Koala just ahead, ready to give his teammate a lovely tow down through turns 11 and into turn 12 before the heavy braking zone at turn 13, where Carlos Sainz had a huge shunt for Toro Rosso a few years ago now. I think it was either 2015 or 2016. The Spaniard had a massive accident there in qualifying. Louis thankfully keeping the car pointing in the right direction. Seems much cleaner than he was last time out on the mediums, and you would expect that with this additional grip. So this is going to be the first real taster, I think, of what sort of performance Louis can do and where he is in the pecking order in this qualifying session. We expect it to be right up there. 129.786. Never mind first driver into the 1 minute 30s. He's absolutely smashed everyone. 1.3 seconds.
I think his teammate helped him a lot, but I think he didn't need his teammate that much because he smashed by 1.2 seconds. And does he know that there's 2 more qualifying sessions? Because that is a qualifying time that we set in Q2 or Q3. So I think a lot of people will need to work extra harder to make sure they get pole position. I thought Josh was going to get pole today, but after seeing Louis' time, we do have a challenger, and it could affect the championship.
Yeah, definitely. Louis isn't going to win it unless we get the most bizarre sequence of events, even more bizarre than the 2011 Canadian Grand Prix that was on the F1 Rewind earlier. But he can definitely have a say, and he could possibly help Red Bull towards the Constructors' Championship. The Red Bull team currently, in 5th place, but only 62 points off of Renault, so that is extremely close. You've got yellow flags up ahead of these 2 Red Bulls. That is just for a slow-moving Haas, and Louis is going to have to get out of the way pretty late here. I don't think that compromised Koala too much. He's slightly up on his personal best, so he just finds a small improvement. This should be enough, given the fact that Alan and Silent Ace are in the pit lane. Michael Pace in the pits as well, so he's not getting enough time, and rudely he's going to be leaving it pretty late if he wants to improve. So we know 2 guys will be dropping out of this session. It is just whether Ruley can find the quarter of a second he needs to get ahead of YBR. And there we go, Koala moving up into 7th position. So Red Bull's looking very good at the moment around this circuit. Hibilu and YBR out on their hot laps as well, and Hibilu went for the soft tyres in Singapore qualifying, which got him a top 10, and he got oh so close to getting his first points of the season with 11th place.
Yeah, I mean, I felt great that he didn't get points, but he's one of those drivers where he wants to try and be as consistent as he can, and I think it's going to be one of those days where he will get points, but he's just being a little bit patient for now, and he knows that results will come and he'll improve race on race, and he's getting better as the time goes on, which is great to see as well. He's had a few DNFs this season, but obviously, he hopefully can carry on with this momentum as well. He got 11th last week, 16th in Italy, and I think obviously he's mainly got 16th right now. And that's put him stays 14th for now, but due to the fact that Michael has left the session, and I don't think Willie's going to improve, but you never know. I think Hibila could be safe. We'll have to wait and see, of course. I think everyone from 14th down upwards is pretty much safe. It is all up to Ruley to see if he can knock Hibilu off a few perches.
Yeah, definitely. So you can see, like, Ruley at the moment in 17th, only finding a slight improvement in the first sector. Going to need to find that quarter of a second to now get ahead of Hibilu. YBR moved up into 14th, so he is safe. So both Williams will be going through to the next qualifying session. It's only this man who can really change the order at the moment, and he is a quarter of a second up at the moment, so he could really ruin Hibilu's day here and knock Toro Rosso out in Q1. It's a bit wide there coming through turn 14, so we'll have to see how he can do. And again through 15, has he just cooked those rear tyres too much? It's been a very scrappy end to the lap, and he's heading into the pits. I think he knows that is game over. So we know the three drivers who will be exiting qualifying are Michael Pace, Rulli and Vitinho, but I think the big story there is Louis, 1.3 seconds faster than everyone else. That is just... I hope he does know that there's another 2 qualifying sessions after this.
Well, he's retired from the session, so I think he does. But I was a bit curious, actually, because he went to go again, even though his medium time would have been perfectly been enough to go through to the next part of qualifying. But if I was he's probably treating it like the Mercedes driver, showing what he can do, but he's probably got to make sure that he sandbags in Q2 to make sure that he doesn't go that fast. But we'll have to wait and see. You never know, as we know who are going to be out of qualifying, but... You know, anything could happen, and Louis could make a mistake in Q3, you never know, but don't forget, we've got a few Q2 bans, so does Thomas have a Q2 ban, I believe, is that right?
Yeah, so Thomas does have a Q2 ban, so he was second in Q1, but no one has to worry about him for the rest, so we know one of the drivers again that will be going out in the next session, but the 3 drivers will be taking no further part in qualifying here at Russia. It is going to be Michael Pace in the Alfa, Rulli in the Haas, and Vitinho in the Renault. 3 of the reserve drivers struggling in that session. Hibilu, YBR and Aylan just getting through in the lower stages of the order. In fact, I think Hibilu will be very grateful that Rulli just had made a few mistakes in the final sector of that lap. The 15 minutes of Q2 coming underway now. It's still going to be overcast, but we don't believe there is any chance of rain in this qualifying session, which I'm sure will please everyone, and also the race looking set to be dry as well.
Yeah, that'll be a relief in itself as well. When we went to the lobby, we thought it could rain, but I don't think there's going to be any sign of that unless Cody's threw a spanner in the works. So we've got 14 drivers ready to set their lap times for the second part of qualifying, and we know one driver that's not going to make it, but who are the other 4 drivers that are going to miss out on a Q3 spot, and more importantly, a shot for pole position? There are some big names that could lose out as well, which is interesting. I thought Thomas was going to go on an outlap there, but he didn't, but I think he knows that his setup is safe, so he's just going to watch on now and see what the rest of the field can do. Of course, we've got 2 Red Bulls still in the session, 2 Mercedes still in the session, and 2 Williams as well, and 2 Toro Rossos. But the other teams, they don't have their teammates to rely on, so they're not going to get the benefit of the tow, just like we've seen Koala and Louis do in Q1.
Yeah, the Red Bull team seems to be working fantastically at the moment, especially considering it is Louis' first race in the league, so they've really got that teamwork going. But I had to make predictions of who I think is going to go out in this session. With the greatest of respect to them, I will be surprised if YBR and Hibilu can sneak into the top 10. They did seem quite a way off in that last session, but I think any of the other 13 drivers, if some of these faster guys just get a bit cocky on the medium tyres, make a few mistakes, they could well find themselves going out. So maybe if Paulie Orange, Jonathan Cox, get possibly Josh as well, maybe if they just get it a bit wrong in these early stages on these medium tyres, we'll have to wait and see. Louis gone out on the softs, which does surprise me that a few of these faster guys are actually going for the soft tyres early on. We'll have to see whether he sets a full flying lap time, or whether is this just maybe laying down another marker just to try and assert his dominance again.
He's going to put the pressure on Westy and Josh for sure, because they're the ones that are leading the championship, and it's probably going to push those 2 even more as well to get better results. But he also wants to do well for the constructors. They still got to work on the constructors as well. So Louis wants to score as many points as they can, and if the other teams make mistakes, then it could be Red Bulls to gain as well, really. So it's great to see them working as a team right now, and it can really benefit them in the long run. And obviously some of the teams don't have their teammates here tonight, so it's not going to help them in the slightest. But I'll be amazed if Louis gets another good lap in Q2. I mean, is he going to have enough softs to last for Q3? I mean, that's going to be insane, but I guess Louis wants to be really fast in the opening few laps of the race, so he could pull away if he gets pole position, which I think that's what he wants to do. And once he's in the lead, he pretty much stays there, to be honest. I've seen in most leagues. I think that's what he wants to do.
Yeah, it's almost like Vettel-esque, what he used to do when he was in the Red Bull, where he just seems to get away at the start of the race, and as soon as he's broke that 1 second margin, you are not seeing him for the rest of the race. And he is still flying around the circuit at the moment. He will be the first man, I believe, across the finish line to set his flying lap. Although, look further down the hill, Josh has invalidated on the medium tyres. And this is what I was saying, it's very easy to invalidate around here. You don't want to leave it too late, otherwise some of these guys that are trying to get through on the mediums might feel the need to go for the softs in the end, just to guarantee that they can get through. And if that's not the strategy they wanted to do, that could compromise them later in the race.
Yeah, it could do as well. And Wesley also went into the pits as well. I guess he either invalidated or he wasn't happy with his lap as well. So two of the big names not setting a lap early on as well. And you've got to make sure you get a lap in straight away, because otherwise it can cost you. And obviously we've seen a few people bin it in Singapore, which cost him their running obviously a chance at Q3. Hopefully we won't see the same thing happen again. But yeah, we've got Denji to just set a lap, and then Louis 1:30.5. Surely that's going to be, even with that lap, surely that's going to be enough to secure him into Q3. I don't think he needs to do another lap, does he?
No, I mean that would have been good enough for fastest last time if you discount his own superhuman efforts. So I think he'll be heading into the pits. So you can see Silent Ace currently second. Can't get within 1.5 seconds at the moment. Fastest man on the mediums, Paulie Orange with a 1:32.597. I don't think he'll be too upset with that lap time. It's fairly decent, but there does seem to be quite an offset, I think, between the soft and the medium tyres. Those low grip the low grip surface here at the Sochi Autodrome, and also those low speed corners where you really need the extra grip from the soft tyres, might force a few more drivers into going for it. We know Furhan's fast, and he's feeling the need to use the Red Wall Pirellis at the moment as he heads down towards turn 13. Very tricky braking zone, just so a squeak of a lock up there, but he's looking quick at the moment. Koala giving his teammate a slipstream, but obviously no desire to help the Mercedes along, as we see Hibilu. He's now in fourth on a 1:32.823. That is a bit faster than what he managed in the first session, but I'm not sure that'll be enough to get him through at the moment. Same with Andenge and YBR, obviously, and Furhan there slowing down at the line. I'm surprised we didn't see Louis do that, to be honest, and maybe start on the mediums. Furhan in 6th place. I think he'll either go again this time around feeling that he's got more pace, or come into the pits and put the mediums on in the final 9 minutes.
Yeah, for some of these guys who are in the mid pack, you don't really want to be starting on the soft compounded tyres if you're like 6 downwards up to 10, because that can cause you a massive disadvantage in the race, and you could go longer on, or maybe the hard tyres or even the medium tyres if you can push it as well. So I think that's going to put at a huge risk for some of these guys. Obviously the top 6, I think it's going to be a bit of a mixed bag, but obviously probably more people go on the soft. But you know, it is a bit cutthroat here, and you know, some people may just want to go on the soft to secure Q3 position, but it may not work in the long run. But again, it does depend on your setup, it does depend on your pace as well, because they may be good in qualifying, but they don't get points in qualifying. All that counts is the race. But we know that penalties can throw a spanner in the works anyway, so maybe position is crucial to make sure you minimise the risk of getting penalties. We'll have to wait and see, of course.
Yeah, and obviously if you do start on the soft tyres and there's an early safety car, you can maybe get rid of them, chuck a set of mediums on, and then another set later in the race, or possibly even a set of softs if you've managed to get the mediums to last long enough. Westy, he's pushing hard on those medium tyres at the moment. He'll be looking to go ahead with Paulie Orange and maybe Silent Ace as well, although I think that would have to be a mighty lap time to get into the 1:31s at the moment, as the Williams looking supremely fast, I have to say, at the moment. And that's unfortunately not a phrase you hear too much in the real F1 world, but Westy pushing hard at the moment. 1:05 coming through Sector 2. He will be behind Louis after this lap. I think that is an absolute certainty. I'm not afraid of making that prediction, but we'll see where Westy goes at the moment on these medium tyres. Josh has come out on an outlap on the softs after failing to set a lap on the mediums early on. Ditto with Jonathan Cox, so we'll see what Westy can do on these yellow wall tyres at the moment. Halfway through the second qualifying session, and the Williams driver, he goes into 3rd position on a 1:32.278. Again, I think that's going to be borderline. I think you are going to have to do a 1:31 to get yourself through safely. So I think we're going to have to see the majority of the field having to go onto the soft tyres just to make sure they can get through to the next part of qualifying.
Yeah, I think the medium tyres, unfortunately, it's just not going to be enough. I think they have caused too many risks here today, and softs are so much faster. The delta is so much, is a bigger delta between the softs and the mediums on this track. So it is one of those tracks where the tyre wear is not too bad. So it's not like Singapore where starting on the softs could be deadly. Starting on the softs could not be a bad option for these guys. So if I were them, you got to go as quickly as you can. But there may be some people that use so many softs in the first part of qualifying. That's why they did go on a medium compounder tyres. Right now, the only man who I think is going to be safe at the moment is Louis. Everybody else will definitely need to go again.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting to see who goes out in the final 6 minutes here. Jonathan Cox looking very quick at the moment now that he's changed to the soft tyres. Can he get into the 131s and secure his place in the next qualifying session? I think it's going to be pretty close at the moment for the Racing Point driver. He's going to have to push really hard coming out of this final corner. It's not long before you get to the finish line, but yeah, 131.493. I think he'll be happy with that. I think he may well find himself safe at the moment. Josh, he's going hard through sector 2 at the moment. Other drivers coming towards the end of the lap. Drofdas, he's on the mediums. Interestingly, Andenge, he did his first lap on the softs, but I think he's trying to see what sort of time he can do on the mediums. Same with Fairham, but they are going to have to do one mighty lap time, I think, to make sure they're safe at the moment. Drofdas with a 132.859, so expect him to rush around to the pits and chuck on another set of soft tyres. Although earlier on in the season, he did seem to become a bit of an artist of starting 11th and pushing his way through the field. I think he even managed to get a podium at Monaco starting in 11th. So he's proof of what we've always said in Formula 1. If you start outside the top 10 and you manage to get your strategy right and keep it clean, you can still finish very high up the order.
He got 4th place last week in Singapore after starting last place in the qualifying, and he put on an amazing show for us in Singapore, and he was one of the drivers of the day in that race. And you know, I think, to be honest, for him it doesn't matter where he qualifies. If he qualifies high up sometimes, that is where he usually bins it. But to be honest, he's good at defending, he's good at doing moves, and he's good at keeping it consistent. As someone who's going slow on the circuit, not quite sure who that is, probably someone giving a tow, but yeah, don't underestimate Andenge in this race, I must say. He's on the bubble of getting through at the moment, but hopefully he has enough time to go again, as do most of these guys.
Yeah, he's improving on those mediums at the moment. It's very close. You can see he's less than a tenth of a second off of 7th position at the moment. And that is why Biaru's just gone in 7th. So yeah, 91 thousandths of a second separating 7th to 11th at the moment. It looks like Andenge, Fairham, Koala and Aylan would be the ones to go out. Koala and Aylan still yet to set a lap time, so they're leaving it very late in this qualifying session. Josh has gone up to second with a 130.660. So yeah, it's looking very certain that everyone is going to have to go onto the soft tyres as Andenge comes into the pits. Fairham, he's going to have to follow the Alfa Romeo in as well and chuck on the softs for one final run. Bit like one-shot qualifying, and I'm going to be honest, I miss that one-lap qualifying. They always talk about these different formats to change Formula 1. I say just bring back the one-lap qualifying. Although Fairham, 132.024 on the mediums, he might just sneak through with that as Louis back into the 129s.
Oh my God, he's done it yet again, hasn't he? I mean, he's just showing off, isn't he? But again, there has been a few debutants that surprised us and done well, but we've been expecting Louis to do well, and he's been impressing us no end. And you know, you could put him in any league and he still does well. So yeah, he's definitely safe with that lap. I don't think any people are going to get into the 129s. I think if Josh wants to put some scent in, I think it could be him, but I think Josh will probably stay in the pits for now. So, you know, I think Louis is safe. Josh, I think, is pretty much safe. Everyone else will need to go up for one more time. In particular, Fairham's on the mediums, but I don't think it's going to be enough. He's cutting corners to make sure he gets into the pits in time, but it's going to be a close one, I must say. But
I don't
maybe Louis could out. Sorry, carry on.
I don't think he's getting back to the pits in time, Fairham.
No, he's not.
He's only about. He's got about another 30, maybe about 30 seconds to go on this track. That makes it 1 minute 40. Takes a bit of time to get down the pit lane. I think he's left this too late, and he's going to be very marginal as to whether he gets through to the next session. I think the top 3 are just about safe, but we'll have to see if there's any big improvements further down the field that could knock last week's race winner out. His teammate's currently in 11th place on a 132.8, and Alan, he's just heading out the pit lane now, so he's leaving it very elated. Yeah, Furhan's realised he's not making it, and he's retired from the session.
Yeah, indeed, and obviously Louis has done the same. Obviously Jonathan Cox has done the same, but I'm sure Jonathan Cox will probably be safe as well. But I'm a bit worried about Furhan. I think he may just miss out because a lot of people are putting less fuel in their cars now for the final laps of qualifying. And if you're not that familiar to league racing, the less fuel you have in your car, the faster you're going to be. And obviously you're going to be slower at the first part of Q2, because obviously you're going to put more fuel in to get used to the track conditions, but you're going to put less fuel at the end. So, you know, maybe Furhan's made a little bit of a mistake of when to go out, and he realised. So, you know, this could be the end, but you never know. We could see people like Alhan and Koala not setting laps at all. They have left it all to do. It's going to be a one-lap qualifying session for those two, so they'll get a move on.
Yeah, you can see there now on the timing tower which drivers did their laps on the medium. So that's Westy, Paulie Orange, Cassie G, Droftas and Denge. You'd expect if they get it clean, they could move ahead of Furhan. And obviously Koala and Aylan yet to set a lap. Silent Ace, he goes into 4th place. That should be good enough for the Ferrari driver. You've got Droftas further down the field. He's set a time. Koala comes around the final corner. He moves up into 3rd place with a 131.339 at the moment. Who's coming towards the end of the lap? Droftas is invalidated, so he is out of the session, and it could well be that invalidation might save him, might save his teammate.
Yeah, it could save Wesley, and it could save Paulie Orange as well, potentially too. And if Alhan messes up, then the other guys have been given a lifeline. As YBR has crossed the line, there's no improvement there. And I did see someone else improve. I wasn't quite sure who it was, but I think it was someone inside the top 10. Habilo goes into the pit, so he's out of qualifying session so far. And I think Droftas is going to be out of qualifying too as well. It's going to be up to 13th place and 14th place to see if they can knock Westy and YBR off their perch. I think Furhan has got to thank Droftas for invalidating there, because that saved him.
Yeah, I think it most definitely did. Westy now, he's coming around the final couple of corners. What can he do in the Williams? There you go, 130.737. Good enough for 3rd position at the moment. Paulie Orange, he managed to set a time that was good enough for 4th. And Denge is improving. Currently 132.907. If he improves and Aylan manages to set a fast enough lap time, that could still knock Furhan out of this session. So let's see what the Alfa Romeo driver can do. He comes around the final corner. Yeah, good enough for 4th position. So we've seen one Mercedes is definitely going out. Is it going to be 2? Aylan now, final man that can knock Furhan out of this qualifying session. Furhan tried to get the Mercedes through on the medium tyres, and he has just done it by 56 thousandths of a second. That is going to be a huge sigh of relief from the German, and I think I can nearly hear it from here. He will be very happy that worked out, but you can see how marginal it was.
Yeah, it was definitely. Just look at the gap as well. I mean, it was just insane. I felt glad that our hands were just missing out there, but Westy getting the lap that he needed to at the very last second, and he was a lucky bunny as well. Furhan was a lucky bunny as well. We got some big names competing for Q3 in the next part, and this is where they can go full guns a-blazing. So obviously they won't be starting on the Q3 tyres, they'll be starting on the Q2 tyres. And I think for all of them, apart from Furhan, is on the soft compounded tyres.
Yeah, so Furhan might find himself in a bit of trouble and dropping back in the early stages, but it will all come to him later on in the race. So big name that we knew was going out in that session, of course, 3-time race winner Thomas with that Q2 ban. He will be starting in 15th position. His teammate Aylan just missing out as well in 11th. And you can see YBR, Hibilo, Droftas as well after invalidating that lap time. We'll see what he can do from 40. Furhan sneaking through on the mediums, but once again, that is a big gap at the top of the timing charts. Not as big as it was last time, because Josh and Westy managed to get into the 130s, but Louis, you'd be a brave person to bet against him getting pole position on his debut here with that pace he's showing at the moment.
You never know. He could bin it, and that'll be his qualifying session over. But in Q3, it doesn't matter if you bin it or not. If you set a good lap time early on, then that could be your qualifying position. So it's going to be tough for Josh to beat Louis, but maybe Josh has got something in the tank that no one has actually seen yet. Maybe Josh is saving the best till last. So maybe it can't be as comfortable as what we've seen Louis done before. Maybe we can see Josh in the 129s as well, but it's going to take some effort.
Yeah, I think unless he's got rocket fuel in the tank of that Renault, he might find it pretty hard. 12 minutes of Q3 coming underway then. Everyone will be going for the soft tyres. And another thing that might make it a bit easier for Louis is that Red Bull have got both of their cars through into this next part of qualifying. They are the only team to do that, I believe. In fact, McLaren, I think that makes them the only team not to have anyone into Q3 at the moment. Paulie Orange heading out in the Haas. He'll be fairly happy with how he did in that final qualifying session that we've just seen, as will and Enge, both getting through to the top 10. Expect them to feature highly in the race, but the fight for Powell looks as though it might not be too much of a fair contest. Louis looking very quick at the moment. Josh and Westy, if they do end up fighting for that second position on the grid, that could be crucial given how close it is still in the championship. Only 6 points between them, let's not forget, with a possible 156 points still on the table.
Yeah, definitely. And one mistake can cost you, especially in the championship, and it could bring the others in it as well. Of course, we've got Japan, we've got Mexico, we've got USA, Brazil, and Abu Dhabi coming up as well. Some of the tracks where obviously a few of the guys are more comfortable than others as well, whereas some people think Russia is more easier than the other tracks as well. So they got to put consistent results into everything, because you never know. If the championship is won by only 1 point, you got to think maybe the result that he didn't do quite as well may be to blame. Like Westy, he got 7th place in Italy, 5th in Hungary. The rest have been top 3 finishes. So maybe he's got to just keep on getting his top form back to where it was at the start of his FOR career, and potentially get some podiums. But he is there in the top 10, so anything is possible. And obviously Josh I don't think could get pole, but you never know. We'll have to wait and see. This is going to be a nail-biting Q3 session. You won't want to miss it.
Yeah, Silent Ace, the only driver in the pits at the moment. Josh leaving it pretty late to go out. Josh has had a podium every race he's competed in so far. 8 races, 8 podiums. He'll be hoping to make it 9 out of 9, and starting high up the grid here will definitely make that a lot easier. Paulie Orange is going to be the first man out. No, it's Andenge actually further up the field as he just comes through Q2. He's the first man out, and then you've got this long turn 3, whereas if your tyres are wearing out, you are really going to suffer, and that leads you straight into the braking zone for turn 4 again. The big possibility of cars getting it wrong around that circuit. It is quite a technical track, this Sochi circuit. You've really got to have a lot of confidence in the car that you're not just going to understeer off towards the runoff area and invalidate your laps. And as well, we can see in the final sector, that's where oversteer seems to be a bigger problem as the rear tyres start to get a bit hot.
I've done a lot of league races in the past, and I can safely agree, as a driver, the last sector is very tricky. If you bin it, that could end your lap completely, and sometimes I find it a bit difficult to get around those corners, I must say. Very, very technical, and so that's one of the reasons why I don't like this track very much, as the Denge is going quite fast as well in the second sector, but there's a few people that are on faster laps than him at the moment, so this could not be plain sailing for the Alfa Romeo driver so far. Like his helmet, by the way, as he goes through, just part of the pit's exit as he comes through the final corner. The first person to set a lap time in this Q3 session, what it to be a 1:31.6. That is not bad from him right now, but obviously the time I think to beat would be the 1:30s, and obviously Orange 1:31.2. That's almost in the 1:30s. So very impressive from him as well. Louis back in the pits. I don't know what happened for him, but everybody else is out. As Furhan, oh, that is what I'm talking about. 1:30.5. So that can upset Josh. I think Josh needs to step up a gear a little bit. It's not just Louis, but maybe Furhan as well.
Yeah, we know Furhan's a quick driver. We've seen that before. So here we go, Jonathan Cox. He having to take a couple of stabs at that apex around the final corner, and that probably cost him some time. 5th place at the moment, slowest of those who have set a valid lap time. Westy's coming around the final couple of corners. Can he join Furhan on the 130s? We'll have to wait and see. Just about 130.982. Some of the drivers not really going as fast as they did earlier on in the session. Louis and Silent Ace now out again. Silent Ace going for that alternative heading out. Louis, he's gone through so many soft tyres. I'm not sure he's going to have any left for the race. So it might be a good job that he is starting on the soft. As you can see there, Josh, you come around 16. The car wants to break away from you. Did that cost him any time? Will he be able to beat Furhan? Very smooth through turn 17. The Renault championship leader heads towards the finish line. It's only good enough for second place at the moment.
Yeah, and not that far clear or Westy as well. So that's going to be intense, I must say. About a tenth. So, you know, this could potentially be the scrap for the championship soon, to see if Josh can extend a little bit. Because even a little bit of an extending for Josh can save him in the long run. So he's probably going to be happy that he's ahead of Westy. But he's a racer of heart. He wants to be on pole, for goodness sake. But it's going to be tricky of him, of course. Obviously, we've got Silent Ace still on a lap. He was looking good in Q2. Louis still on a lap as well as he goes past turn 1, and he's probably not going to improve, and possibly potentially until the final few minutes of the qualifying, where the track starts to evolve as well. Cassie G wasn't happy with his lap, so he goes into the pit zone. He hasn't got long to set a lap either, so it's interesting. Will everyone have enough softs to make it past their qualifying? Because I've seen quite a few people use mostly softs and not many mediums, so I think it's going to benefit the ones that have been on the mediums in Q2 potentially.
Yeah, looking at Silent Ace's car, it's almost looking like an alternative universe with car number 14 and that Alonso-like helmet. What if Fernando had stayed at Ferrari? And Silent Ace at the moment goes into 6th place, just behind Koala, who is the only Red Bull driver at the moment to have set a time. But let's see what Louis can do. 129 in the first qualifying session, 129 in the second qualifying session. Interestingly, not as fast as he managed in that first one. We'd expect the opposite of that, of course, with the track evolution. Judging by the times in this session, few of the drivers not really matching what they did last time around, so maybe the overcast conditions making it a bit harder for drivers to find the grip they need. Well, let's see what Louis can do across the line. You can pretty much just you could just scrap everything I just said just because you want 8 tenths faster than everyone else, and that puts him on provisional pole position.
Yeah, I think you shouldn't say much about Louis now. We think he's not going to improve, and then he gets that lap time. I mean, that is amazing. I think the other guys need to get their heads into gear, but I think Louis could concentrate for the last few minutes, helping his teammate. But you never know. Louis just wants to say, hang on, if anything I could do even more better. And yeah, I think the tyre has helped Louis a bit more as well. So, you know, I think that's probably given Koala a reason to push as well. That could mean Koala could get his best result of the season. I think having Louis in his team is a little bit of saving grace for him.
Yeah, definitely. Let's not forget, he did that lap without any slipstream, I believe. When he did the one in
did he? Oh,
really? He might have had a slipstream.
Oh, wow. Okay. Scrap what I just said.
Because obviously Koala's on his out lap at the moment, whereas in Q1, Louis had a slipstream, so that just shows you how impressive that lap time was. Just here in draft test in the last session, he did a 1:30.1.0, so he'll really be gutted that he's not in this session, because if he'd have managed to match that time, it'd have been 5th place. And that is why it is so important that you can just keep things clean. There are 2 Red Bulls got the track to themselves at the moment, and it looks like there isn't going to be any teamwork as Louis dives into the pits just to sit there, I think, to see if anyone improves. But I think he'll be pretty safe and looking good to take that P1 slot at the moment. So we've now seen a few of the other drivers start to head out. It is Burhan who's going to try and improve. He's got a bit of a gap back to Josh Show of a quarter of a second at the moment. So Red Bull Mercedes looking as though they might be 1-2 on the grid here. Josh Westy, the only other drivers in the 1:30. So can anyone get close to them in the final 3 minutes of this qualifying session? Yellow flags in sector 1. That'll just be for Furhan going slow on his outlap at the moment. But let's see how Koala can do. This is probably going to be his last shot in this qualifying session. Not improving on his personal best at the moment, so needs to find a bit more time in these final 2 sectors if he is to get into the top 5.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's comfortable, I think, to possibly not be last. But again, and if and he's invalidated, that's his chance gone.
Yeah, we'll see if he's saved enough tyres and got enough fuel in that car to get around. Again, we'll have to wait and see here. So he's definitely pushing hard. He has got enough time. Oh, I don't think he's actually going to have enough time to get round to the pit. So that might be well qualifying over for him. He's definitely... I think if he was pushing to try and get into the pits, he'd have missed that chicane out completely. So we'll see whether Koala's able to go around and do another lap time next time around. But can Furhan get anywhere close to Louis at the moment? Needs to find 8/10 of a second. And Furhan, wow, pushing really hard at the end of his outlap, nearly binning the Mercedes. I'm not sure that's an optimal thing to do, just trying to get a bit more heat maybe into the rear tyres after what was a very sedate lap, and he's invalidated there. And we've seen that before. If you invalidate in the final couple of corners, it can invalidate your next lap, but it looks like he's clean at the moment. So Furhan, can he take to solidify second place, because this would be a mighty effort to find 8/10 of a second on your second qualifying lap to try and challenge Louis for pole.
Yeah, it's going to be close, I mean, for Furhan. I mean, you know, I think he's one of those drivers where he wants to save everything to the final qualifying session, and we're like, hang on, you don't want to put too much pressure on me in Q1 and Q2, because sometimes that's where we see some drivers falter. If they put a statement in Q1 and Q2, then they pretty much don't, they bin it in Q3, but that is not the case for Louis. But Furhan, I think, has just been flying under the radar in some of these sessions, but is doing it when it counts in the final qualifying session to see if he can improve. I didn't see what his first sector was looking like as well, but that's Koala. That is not what Koala is hoping to see. Furhan's going to get a tow from Koala. Koala's going to probably try and hold him up as well, and hopefully he's going to give Louis a tow as well. But obviously Louis is still on a lap at the moment too, so you know, that's costed Koala dear, but that's helped Furhan massively going into this. I think that's gained him about 1/10 of a second in slipstream. He would have lost so much time if he didn't have Koala to help him with that. I wonder how that's going to affect Furhan's time as he crosses the line. He's going to have chance for one more lap if he wants to. Oh, I think he's just invalidated as well.
Yeah, he invalidated
on the final corner.
Coming out of the final corner, and it would have been an improvement by just less than 1/10 of a second. So Josh, with his 1/4 of a second up in the first sector, as the checkered flag comes out, Josh has got a great chance now maybe to get onto the front row of this grid. We'll see Silent Ace, he ran out of time actually to set another time in this session, as has Paulie Orange and Cassie G. So they're not going to be able to improve. Cassie G will be starting in 10th place. So the next man across the line will be Josh in the Renault. He's 3.5 tenths up at the moment. So Furhan, that invalidation could prove to be oh so costly for his chances of starting on the front row here. Josh just keeping it clean around these final few corners, and it should be good enough to promote him up into second position for now. So what can Josh do? Championship leader. Where will he be starting this race? He's 4th at the moment. Paulie Orange actually was on a hot lap. He's gone up into 3rd place, and it's now Josh takes that second position. And in the end, Furhan's lap time wouldn't have been good enough anyway. Westy is improving, by not by as much, so will he actually be able to get any higher than his 3rd row slot at the moment? Williams, he rounds the final corner. He goes into 5th place. Yeah, Cassie G, in the end, does get into 6th. So I think the only other driver who's out on a hot lap is Louis, who, just to show what he can do, 1:29.629, and that is pole position. It was never really in doubt, but if some of you guys are thinking, oh, this is over, Louis got this race won, let's not forget that Josh was fastest in Q1, 2 and 3 last time around and didn't win the race.
Yeah, I mean, I think Louis had pole pretty much from when he set that 1:29 in Q1, to be honest. I think no one was going to beat that, and he was the only one into the 1:29s as well, so impressive from him as well. So let's go for your top 10. The biggest gap of the season, 7/10 separates Louis and Josh. That's insane, by the way. Now we got Furhan in 3rd, and we got Paulie Orange. He'll be happy with his qualifying. 4th place with a 1:30.8. And we got Westy in 5th. Cassie G 6th. Koala, I think, will be pretty pleased with that in 7th. Silent Ace 8th, Adenj in 9th, and Jonathan Cox rounds up your top 10 in Q3. And we're about to get started for the race, and surely they're going to be relieved that it's going to be the weather's going to be a lot better than what they've been seeing in qualifying.
Yeah, it'll be a lot sunnier, so track temperatures will be going up. That might have a slight effect on the tyre life, but should mean warm-up's not as much of a problem, of course. So you can see there, yeah, looking a lot sunnier around the Sochi Autodrome at the moment, so that'll be great news for everyone. So we know how quick Louis is, obviously we've seen that. It'd be interesting to see what Thomas can do, because he was looking very mighty himself in that first qualifying session, but obviously with his Q2 ban, he'll be starting down in 15th and probably going for a different strategy.
Yep, he will. He has free choice of tyres, of course, as does everyone who was qualified outside of the top 10 as well. And again, some big names outside the top 10 as well. So maybe they want to go long in the first part of the race, but for some of them, they want to go and gain as much positions as they possibly can, because you never know with penalties, it can affect your race massively. So it's going to be tight, but I'm sure that the bottom half is going to be a mixed bag. Some are going to be on softs, some of them are going to be on mediums, but I think a majority will be on the mediums with a few on the softs. We may see one person on the hards, but that's going to be a bit of a gamble. We'll have to wait and see, of course, as we're about to look at the tyres, actually. And, yeah, I think it's pretty much more people on the mediums outside the top 10 than the softs. Only 3 people on the softs. Hasibile, Dropter, and Ruli. Everybody else on the mediums, including Thomas, down in 15th.
Yeah, and obviously out in the top 10, it's only Verhan who is in 3rd on those medium tyres. So expect to see Louis and Josh maybe just get away in the early stages. Paulie Orange, Westy, Kassaji, Koala, Silent Ace, and then Jonathan Cox. They'll be trying to make their way up the order and make hay while the sun shines in these early stages of the race. So it'll be a 27 lap race. Very interesting race, I'm sure it will be. Quick message on behalf of our sponsors here at FOR MIXT Energy for all your energy needs. You can use the code FOR2020 to get yourself a 10% discount. We also have an exclusive discount with Player One Coffee. You can check the link out in the description below. Though, if I'm being honest, I'd rather you check it out in 27 laps time, because you're not going to want to miss one bit of this race.
I've got to say, I can't put it past Louis to actually win this race, but like we said earlier, Josh didn't do justice by starting on pole, but he only ended up P3, so but he did a good comeback, so I think it could be up to anyone in the top 3 to get the win today, but we can't put it past Westy as well. Starting 5th place, if everybody else makes a mistake, he could be there to pounce, but hopefully Westy won't be put under too much pressure like last week, because that possibly would have costed him a potential win in the Singapore race as well. So we'll have to wait and see, of course, and maybe Thomas could get up there as well in the top 5 potentially. Even a podium as well. It's not hard for a driver of his calibre to start from that lower down the grid and potentially climb your way up, but it's more difficult if you're a slow driver, of course. But you know, I'm expecting good things from Thomas today, but maybe he may find Dirty M more difficult, so we'll have to wait and see, of course.
Yeah, we'll have to see what he can do from 15th. He's won 2 races already from low down the grid. He seems to like having to do the comeback, so he's going to be able to do another one today on those medium tyres. All the cars now lined up on the grid as we wait for the lights to come on here at the Sochi Autodrome. They'll be flat out through turn 1, and turn 2 could be quite a tricky braking zone here. 5 lights are on. Underway here in Russia. Good start by Louis. Josh seems to have got a fairly decent start as well, and they're going to be almost side by side, but Louis just cutting across in front of the Renault. Paulie Orange having a fantastic start, trying to get ahead of Verhan already as Josh, he's going to find himself on the outside of Q2, and see Koala's gone very late on the brakes. I'll be surprised if he ends up making the corner, and that's forced a few cars wide. We've seen someone going around the bollard there at turn 1, so that gets Verhan back up into 3rd place. Westy, he's into 5th as well.
Oh, there's huge contact at the back. RBR, I think, got involved with Ruli and potentially Thomas as well, and that's costed the VSC as well. A few front wing damage, which is going to cost the team a lot of repair bills, I must say. But yeah, an awful start from people down the back, but the guys up the front, they've done well to try and avoid the incidents, but Koala got very lucky that he made the turn 1 and 2 work.
Yeah, I think he got very lucky that the others saw that coming. So we'll go through what's happened there. So Ruley, YBR and Thomas have been involved in some incident. I can't see, YBR's front wing seems relatively unscathed, so I think he's got away with it, but Ruley and Thomas definitely haven't, and Thomas has a 5-second penalty for a severe collision with Ruley, and obviously he won't be able to appeal that because he will serve that in the race. So it looks like even by his standards this is going to have to be absolute one crazy comeback, but Louis managed to get through cleanly. Josh did as well. Furhan, Paulie Orange, Westy, Koala just about, given the Red Bull extremely brave move into turn 2, and we're back racing once again. Green flag underway. Josh right on the back of Louis. Furhan seems to have been left behind a slight bit further down the field. You've got Vitinho, he's trying to move up the order, and there's been a spinner further back. That is Aylan, so both McLarens in trouble right at the back of the field, last but one. But we are at the end of the first lap, and it is Josh right underneath the rear wing of Louis at the moment. DRS not enabled until next time around, and he's just going to be too far back to have a go into the second turn. But you can already see Furhan on those medium tyres is beginning to hold up the cars behind him.
Yeah, he is as well, and that's probably not going to help the likes of Paulie Orange, who wants to get past very quickly because he's got Westy up his nose as well, so he's got to be careful of that, of course, as well. Hopefully Paulie Orange will be in a better position when the DRS is enabled, but I was watching Louis for the first lap there as well, and he just didn't pull away as much as he would have liked, and that was allowing Josh to stay on his tail for pretty much the 1.5 laps. I mean, you know, Josh being good on race pace, Louis as well, but it's been not too easy for Louis at the moment in the race, of course. Obviously points are one in the race, not qualifying, but we shall see, as Louis, I think, is responding to the challenge now, and he's starting to pull away just about, so maybe he's listening to us for sure, or he's just found a little bit of grip after lap 1.
Yeah, Cassie G all over the back of Andedge as they headed into turn 13, even without the DRS at the moment. And Jonathan Cox, he's trying to get himself involved in this as well. They're going 3 wide there through turn 15. That's not something you normally see. I'm surprised there hasn't been any contact, and somehow Jonathan Cox is just about going to come out ahead, I think, after all that. Andedge, he's skipped way over the curb there, and he's got the position back. I'm not sure the game will take too kindly to that. DRS will be enabled this time around, and Denge could find himself a sitting duck with all these cars behind him at the moment. He's got a Racing Point, 2 Toro Rossos and a Ferrari trying to close right up behind him, and Denge doesn't even know which way to defend. Could find himself losing 2 positions here. Goes down the inside, and one of the Toro Rossos, that's Cassie G, has gone around. Jonathan Cox just getting ahead of Andenge for a bit there, but the Alfa Romeo getting back ahead. With all those drivers coming close together into turn 2, it's perhaps not surprising that we did see a car spinning.
Yeah, it wasn't that surprising for me, to be honest, but while you were seeing that battle, Paulie Orange managed to get a great move into turn 1, and that's him at P3 and got the move past Furhan, so he was waiting for the DRS, he got it nailed, and he's already starting to find a little bit of slipstream, and already pulled away by 9/10 of a second. He's absolutely flying on those soft compounded tyres right now, and he was just waiting for the right moment. But Westy obviously is looking pretty feisty. Obviously he's on softer tyres compared to Verham, but you know, I think this is turning out to be a great race for the Haas drivers so far. Yeah,
he's already dropped 4 seconds behind Louis, obviously, because of getting stuck behind Furhan. Jonathan Cox this time around, he's got back past Andenge and looks to have done it cleanly, and there's not going to be any way that the Alfa Romeo can fight back into this last part of the lap, but he will have a chance, of course, down the main pit straight. Furhan, he'll just hoping that he can stay within a second of Paulie Orange at the DRS detection point, which I think he is going to do, so that'll give him DRS and just make it harder for Westy, obviously, to pull ahead. So on lap 4, Louis now 1.5 seconds ahead of Josh. He's broken that DRS from the Renault, and indeed Furhan was within a second and got a very good exit from that corner, given that he was on the medium tyres, and Westy's not attacking. He might have to find himself defending, but Koala in the end decides not to go for that move, and Silent Ace, he has got ahead of Hibilo, so the Ferrari moving up into 9th position. Droftas also getting past Cassie as well, a swap there for 11th and 12th place. We did see 4 cars come in for pit stops earlier on. YBR, Thomas, Michael Pace and Ruley. Ruley's gone for the hard tyre, so he'll be able to get to the end. YBR, Thomas and Michael Pace obviously will be pitting again, so Thomas there, fastest lap of the race. Looks like that fastest lap point, which you do get even if you're outside the top 10. here at FOR. You can get a fastest lap point even if you finish the race. Looks like that's going to be Thomas's best hope of getting any points today.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think I jinxed him, to be honest, thinking he'll get a good comeback, but so I'll have to wait and see. But I'm not going to say much about Hibilo because he's running P10 right now and hasn't scored any points this season, and he's on the cusp of possibly getting P9 as well, as he's found a few attempts on Silent Ace already. He's had a good start as well. So biggest gainers and losers then. Hibilo's up 3, Jofta is up 3, Jonathan Cox is up 3, then we've got Adenge and Paulie Orange up 1, and also Koala 2, but the biggest loser's got to be Cassie G, down 6 places, and obviously Thomas has lost 1 as well as Michael Pace and Rooney as well. But Patinio, he started last place, he got disqualified from the session in qualifying. He's all the way up in P13, so he's been avoiding the trouble, and that's helping him, and he's only 1.8 seconds behind Cassie G at the moment.
Yeah, so I think they might start closing up to that battle soon. Westy's still unable to get past Furhan, who now that we've got into the latter period of this soft stint, beginning to keep with Paulie Orange a bit more. That gap staying at around a second, so Westy might start finding it a bit harder. I think Paulie Orange did the right thing, getting away in the early stages. Furhan running very wide there, coming out of turn 4. Won't want to do that too often. You will easily find yourself picking up penalties around here. Out in front though, it is Louis, 2.1 seconds at the moment ahead of Josh, who is himself 3.5 seconds ahead of Paulie Orange. Even if these early stages, they are beginning to look fairly comfortable. And like I said, if you run wide too often, you're going to get a penalty. And Westy there with a 3-second penalty, running wide, coming out of turn 10. That is really where you don't want to do that, because you want the best exit to get the slipstream using the DRS on Furhan. And Furhan not even feeling the need to go defensive into turn 13 there. This is costing Westy being stuck behind him.
Yeah, I think so as well. And just like Paulie Orange we saw earlier, we lost 3 seconds to Louis. So Westy's probably going to be in the same territory of losing a few seconds on Paulie Orange as well. So literally Westy is in a dirty air effect around this track, because he can't just get past Furhan. He's finding it very tricky right now, despite the fact Furhan is on harder tyres compared to Westy. I mean, he must be struggling with his setup right now. I mean, he needs to pick up the pace a bit.
Yeah, Furhan's actually closed in a bit on Paulie Orange and got DRS, so that's going to make it even harder, obviously, for Westy to overtake. Silent Ace, he's finding it pretty easy on the DRS straight coming up to the run to turn 2. He now gets ahead of Andenge for 8th position. We've seen Droftas and Hibilu slip places, so Toro Rosso is actually now running line astern in 11th and 12th, and it might be wise for Hibilu to not fight too hard with Cassie G, because I think his teammate is faster. He did qualify ahead and was running in the battle for 7th place earlier on in this race before he did spin coming out of turn 2. So Westy now still close to Furhan, but Furhan's doing well to just keep within a second of Paulie Orange. And I think if Furhan can keep that Haas within touching distance, it's going to be very hard for the Williams to get ahead.
Yeah, 6 attempts he's dropping by now. He's almost going to be out of DRS range. You can see Furhan moving away from the distance as well. So I think that has definitely costed him a potential chance of P4 as well, and it's going to affect him in the pit stop. So yeah, I think Westy must be feeling gutted right now.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Maybe the undercut could work, because it does look, in qualifying at least, as if the soft tyres were a lot faster than the mediums, and it definitely will be than older medium tyres. As Droftas, he's battling with Andenge, but YBR and Thomas battling way down for 15th and 16th as well. And we are seeing the undercut. Westy and Koala both coming in to the pit. So the first 2 scheduled pit stops here in this race. It's Westy and Koala clearly feeling like they could go faster heading into the pits. What tyres will they be putting on? We've got a yellow flag, and I'm going to guess, not quite sure who that is. Virtual safety car, and it's Rooley. It's Rooley who's out, so...
He's out! He's out of the race.
Yeah, so Westy...
Is he retiring the pit?
No, he's crashed out. Coming out of, it looks like, turn 9. So Westy and Koala, the VSC maybe just coming a bit too late for them, but they'll have definitely gained a bit of time in that period. So we'll have to see how all this works out. Josh now 4.6 seconds behind Louis, and there we go. We have got the VSC has finished, and I think Paulie Orange tried to floor it when he saw the VSC ending sign and just misjudged it, because he's forgot himself a drive-through penalty. He was looking good for a podium. That's really going to compromise his chances. He's going to have to serve that in the next few laps. We've got a yellow flag in sector 1, and it's Westy. Westy's around, and he's damaged his front wing. Big story.
He's down in 14th. He's down in 14th as well. What happened now? I think he lost a chunk of time, and that's cost him way chance, possibly getting some points. He's probably got to pit soon as well. Maybe get onto the hard tyres, which could potentially go to the end, but don't forget, guys, you may not know this, but Paulie Orange is the host of this lobby, so some of these guys can get away with flooring it when it says safety car ending, but Paulie Orange can't. I guess he did not know that, so that means it's cost him huge time, and unfortunately a glitch that they haven't fixed in this game, which hopefully they'll fix in the next game, but very sad that Paulie Orange had to go through that, because he's running in a net P3 right now, as Louis is in the pits then for his scheduled stop, and he's on the mediums most likely until the end of this race, most likely.
Yeah, we'll see where he comes out. It is going to be just behind Alan, I think, although McLaren not quite going as fast there to catch him up as I expected. So Louis coming out in 11th. He's got Vitinho not too far ahead. Once he gets ahead of him, everyone else up to Furhan is on the soft tyres, so they should be getting out of the way pretty sharpish. Westy, though, he's in the pits again. He was right behind Koala coming out of the pits. In fact, no, he'd have been ahead of Koala, wouldn't he? Because he was ahead of him coming in. So Westy, he's lost 20 seconds before we've even got to the pits. So getting any points for him is going to be a big challenge. And with Paulie Orange having a drive-through penalty to serve shortly as well, this race, even though he's looking, this might be tough for Josh to win. He's in the lead at the moment just because Louis pitted. It's looking good for him in the championship.
Yeah, it's looking good for Josh right now, and it could mean a difference between winning or losing a championship, to be honest. And I was talking about earlier, that could be another race where what could have been for Westy, and that might have costed him a chance for the title. You never know. And speaking of Josh right now, he's going into the pit lane. Will the other ones on the softs follow suit? Well, Paulie Orange will have to serve his drive-through first before he even goes to the pit. So he has to pit again. He's got lost quite a few positions. Meanwhile, Jofta was having a battle with Adenge, but Adenge is going into the pit lane. So pretty much almost everybody on the softs is going into the pits, with a few exceptions due to the fact that they're teammates. But yeah, or maybe a few people just want to stay out and stretch out the softs as they possibly can to make sure the mediums go to the end.
Yeah, Furhan has got ahead of Paulie Orange, so Furhan is now in the lead of this race on the medium tyres. Paulie Orange, he's dropping down, and let's not forget, once he makes his drive-through penalty, he has to drive straight through. He can't pick to change his tyres, then serve the drive-through penalty, so he's going to be in really trouble with the grip of the soft tyres shortly. It's only himself, Silent Ace, Drofdas and Hibilu yet to pit. So the net leader of this race is Louis in 6th position. He's already caught up to Hibilu. Josh coming out in 9th, so Louis got a few cars between him, and Louis will have to be patient here when overtaking. We've seen a few times when cars have tried to force their way past the slower cars. They're not really racing with them at the end, but it's for position at the moment. Hibilu is entitled to fight for all he is worth, use every inch of track, but he's just not got the grip to do anything about that. And you can see Louis, DRS open, but he's passed way before the corner, so that is Louis up into 5th place at the moment. And I think Paulie Orange may have to come in this lap. I don't think he can leave it any later. And yeah, he is heading into the pits. This will be for his drive-through penalty, and he'll have to stop again next time around, so he is going to drop down to what will be about a net 9th or 10th place after all these pit stops. Disaster for him. And that is how Furhan leading this race, and he's going to have a fairly comfortable lead, I think, towards the end of it. Silent Ace and Drofdas, they're doing a good job, though, keeping these soft tyres lasting. And Drofdas, he's trying to show that he's got plenty of pace in them, closing in on the Ferrari. We're heading to the inside to turn 2, and we see the Mercedes streaking down there. He takes the position. Had to take a tighter line, obviously, so that might give Silent Ace a chance if he could just tuck underneath. But the Mercedes is ahead, and it's a phrase that has been said so many times in the hybrid era. We have a Mercedes 1-2 here at Russia.
It was Hamilton and Bottas in real life, of course, but it is Furhan and Joftas 1 and 2. Furhan started the only one in the top 10 on the medium compounded tyres, whereas Joftas, he's still yet to pit, of course, but he is no mean feat for the Mercedes. He's doing absolutely fantastic, and I'm almost certain that his medium stint is going to be on fire. I mean, he's going to be on for a great result today if he keeps this up. He's got a good gap towards, I think, 5th place of Ibilu as well, who's still yet to pit. Of course, Paulie Orange will need to pit after his drive-through, but he's going to drop way out of the points so far. So it's going to be a race to forget for the championship contenders, I must say, as Vitinho, I believe, has got past Ibilu before the end of the DRS straight, and he's up into P5, so he's doing quite well from last place, as I said earlier. So he's making less mistakes right now, which is really, really great to see.
Yeah, he's managed to get ahead of Ibilu, who's yet to pick. Koala working his way up the order. He's just passed Alan, who's now got Paulie Orange all over the back of him, but Paulie Orange is going to have to pit now as well. So Silent Ace finally heads into the pits, and with Paulie Orange heading in as well, that is going to leave Ibilu and Droftas as the only runners who started on the soft tyres who are still out there. We're on board with Ibilu at the moment. He has got DRS, he's got absolutely no ERS, and that's going to make this a very straightforward move for Josh to get ahead of the Toro Rosso. So Renault cars running 4th and 5th. They're looking good, you must say, to extend their lead in the Constructors' Championship. Currently 41 points over Williams, and both Williams think it's going to be a task for either of them to get into the points at the moment, as Louis makes his way past Droftas. I don't think there was anything the Mercedes driver could really do about that. So Louis back up into 2nd place. He is the net leader, of course, with Ferhan yet to pit after starting on those medium tyres. So trying to work out if there's been any major changes from that pit stop period. And I've got to say the only ones that I can think are Westy because of his incident and Paulie Orange because of his drive-through penalty. The order doesn't seem to have changed too much other than that.
No, not really, but there's one other change of the order, as Michael Pace is retired from the race. It looked like it's probably it's from the pits by the looks of things, as his car is making his way out, of course, his go-car, so that's a shame for him as well. I've brought out the yellow flags in set to 1, which obviously they got to pay attention to that, of course, but pretty much most of the people who have kept their cool, have yielded the results, and they're staying where they are at the moment, and gaining on other people's mistakes, of course, as Elhan is now up into 7th place after getting past Vitinho, as Vitinho goes into the pits too, and Drofter, after 10 laps on those, 11 laps on those softs, he goes in for a set of mediums. Ibilu staying out. He's going to go for a massive undercut, but he's putting a gamble, surely.
He's hoping that someone crashes out on track and has because of the safety car, and he may have nearly got lucky there, because Vitinho, something's happened. He broke his front wing somewhere on the lap, and I'm not quite sure where he could have done it, other than maybe running into a wall. So Vitinho's having to go back out on the hard tyres, obviously because he started on the medium. So maybe I put a bit of a commentator's curse on the Renault team there, and I do apologise. I said they were looking good, and Vitinho, he's not going to have the grip of those around him. As we see Cassie G, I think he's managed to get past Silent Ace and Droftas in one straight turn there. What a move by him. He's now up into 9th position. Droftas trying to get past the Ferrari as well. He's going to have to back off though. You can't really go too wide through there. So Droftas doing the wise thing, living to fight another day, waiting perhaps to a DRS zone, but let's not forget the Ferrari will have that as well. They're currently fighting for 9th, 10th and 11th, although that is a net 7th, 8th and 9th, as we've yet to see Ibilu and Alan pit, and Ibilu has just been passed by Koala. So Louis, actually looking at the times, he's gained quite a lot in this pit stop period. He's nearly 10 seconds ahead of Josh at the moment.
Yeah, he's on fire right now, and like I said earlier, he wanted to start on pole so we could possibly get a comfortable gap up in front. Just look at that as well. He could just breathe easy for the rest of this lap and potentially take the win. His first win in F1. He can climb up big positions in this championship. Compared to people that's done pretty much all the races. As Ibilu finally goes into the pits. He didn't want to wait a bit longer, but fair play to him for getting those tyres to last. A massive 12 laps. That's going to help his medium tyre stint, which we know is going to make it to the end, and it's going to be even fresher than the guys that are already out for some time, the likes of Koala especially as well. Ibilu just outside of the points in 12th place, but he's got Paulie Orange, he's just behind Paulie Orange actually, and it's going to be a lot fresher for him, so he potentially could try and get past him pretty soon indeed.
Yeah, we'll have to see how he does further down the field. Vitinho has managed to get past YBR 13 for 14th, although YBR's going straight back for it. He's gone way off circuit, and Westy's retired from the race. I think he's just pulled into the pits and retired, so that is big news for the championship. The guy who's currently in the runner-up spot is out of this race. Thomas coming into the pits. He's going to have to go on medium tyres until the end, and it'll be hard to see how he can get any points. But I think YBR, I'm not quite sure what he was thinking with that move there, because he was been passed by Vitinho, had way less speed, was extremely late on the brakes, and that could have ended in a huge accident.
Yeah, I mean, YBR not having a good race as it stands as well, and he's got to concentrate on his own race, really, because he's on a different strategy, and he's probably held up Vitinho a little bit more, to be honest, and I don't think Vitinho will be very pleased with that, especially as well. But meanwhile, a battle for P8 is still going strong. We've got Cassie G, Silent Ace and Droftas battling for one position. I mean, Droftas will be happy, he's in the points, but he can't make too many mistakes as well. The only one that's going to lose out potentially is Cassie G, who doesn't have any DRS, but let's see if any of the guys behind could challenge. Silent Ace is going to try and make a move on the inside, but he can't quite do it, neither can Droftas either. But could this be a run into turn 2 and 3 that they would have looked at? We don't know. It's quite difficult to get right, of course, once you get there, because obviously if you get too close to the wall, that could be your race over. But they stay in tandem for now, but it was very close for Silent Ace to get past right now, but you never know, he could get him past on the back straight of the DRS.
Yeah, we'll have to see if he can do that. Cassie G was running low on deployment, and he's still not looking too good on that, so he's going to find himself running out towards the end of that straight, coming through 11 and 12 flat out corners, so that's not them they have to worry about. So this could be the chance Silent Ace needs, and he's all over the back of Cassie G, just running over the curb there. That will cost you quite a lot of grip, and Cassie G is going to run out of deployment any time now, so he's got no DRS, he's got no ERS, and soon he's not going to have 8th position as Silent Ace sives down the inside in the Ferrari. Great move from him. That is 8th for him. We've got a yellow flag as Alan has lost part of his front wing, and he got some damage. He'd have been hoping to go a bit longer on those medium tyres, so that's his strategy compromised. It's now Cassie G and Droftas battling for 9th and 10th place, and I'm sure Silent Ace will be hoping that they carry on battling a bit longer so we can get away at the moment. But lap 15 of this race, Ferhan now with a 1.6 second lead over Louis, who himself is 11.6 seconds ahead of Josh. Koala doing pretty well at the moment, net 3rd place, so could have both Red Bulls getting on the podium here.
Yeah, I think so as well, and that could really help with the constructors, don't forget, because they're not that far behind Renault indeed, because obviously we've got one Renault that's down in 13th place. He's not going to score any points, whereas Josh is in 3rd, whereas Louis and Koala, they're going to gain massively on Renault this race, and it can have a huge effect on whether Renault could keep their championship lead in a few races' time. I mean, you know, Louis has only got one title to worry about, that's the constructors, but this could be huge if Josh doesn't try to defend on Koala, when Koala will be pushing pretty soon. We'll have to find out, of course, but obviously Koala's on older tyres. I think it's going to be hard for him to get past Josh as well, as Droftas gets a time penalty and he's out of the race.
Oh, Droftas has lost it coming out of turn 10, and that is a virtual safety car, and just come a bit too late for Ferhan. I'm sure would have loved to get into the pits there. So virtual safety car, one Mercedes leading the race, the other Mercedes is now out of this race. I'm sure Louis, he'll be ruined that as well, because he was looking good to take the actual lead. So another VSC here. I think that's the 3rd one we've seen so far in this race. Still no full safety cars, and our 4th retirement of the race. Droftas, who was looking so good to get some decent points, he is out. DRS enabled as we go green flag once again, and Louis straight away right on the back of Ferhan. Again, was anyone else able to take advantage of that? And then just closed up to Jonathan Cox. He's got the DRS open on that Alfa Romeo as he tries to go round the outside at turn 2. Jonathan Cox is still there, but he's not going to be able to hold that position. That is Andenge up into 5th place for now, as Louis, he's trying to close up and get past Ferhan. He should be able to do it on this straight. We'll see when Ferhan picks, because he's going to come out in 4th place. As here we go, the Red Bull does get ahead, but obviously Ferhan will have the soft tyres, so he's going to be lightning fast towards the end, and he could get himself on the podium.
Yeah, it is far from over from Furhan. Furhan is doing an amazing job out there on those medium stints, holding up Louis as he possibly can, but obviously Furhan is showing to the others though on the mediums how long the mediums can go also, and as I was speaking about Furhan, he goes into the pits for his final soft run, which is going to be make or break for him. But we did see Hibilu go 12 laps on the soft tyres, so anything is possible. So he can make it through 10 laps on those soft tyres. 10 laps is the optimum pace around here on those soft tyres anyway, so he should be absolutely fine. Jonathan Cox, though, is looking impressive on a Denge for 5th place. I mean, he's having an almighty race so far on those medium compounder tyres. Don't forget, he started, I think, 10th place, and he's all the way up to 6th place in the racing point as well. It'll be interesting to see what his laps were as well the last few laps, because he is gaining every lap as a Denge is trying to defend off the shortest run to the line as possible. He might have made a mistake there, I don't know, but Jonathan Cox is still going to get DRS though. Is he going to have the better exit going into this first part of this turn? Nope, he is not. He stays behind the Denge for the time being, but that's not where you want to be. He's got a 3-second time penalty for that corner cut there, so that's probably cost him a little bit of time.
Yeah, so that has cost him indeed. So he's staying 5th and 6th for now. Silent Ace wasn't able to get back ahead of Cassie G. Seeing where some of the guys are coming out after their pit stop. Alan came out in 12th now after his pit stop. He's on the soft tyres though, so he'll quickly catch up to Vitinho. It's just whether he can get up to Hibilu, who's in 10th place at the moment on those medium tyres. Toro Rosso driver has been an ever-present since he joined the league many races ago now. In fact, his first race was the Monaco Grand Prix. Can he finally get his first point of the season? We'll have to wait and see. Furhan coming out in 4th place. He's now 5.5 seconds behind Koala, already setting purple times in the sectors, lighting up the timing charts. It's going to be close, I think, but you'd expect the Mercedes to just have enough pace to get ahead of Koala. I think Josh is going to be too much of an ask, but penalties could always change that.
Yeah, indeed, with 10 laps to go, of course, and it's one of those tracks as well as USA where it's penalty central, of course, but we're not going to USA for another 2 or 3 weeks yet, so they don't have to worry about that again, luckily. But this is Jonathan Cox's second chance now. That penalty must be looming for him right now. He's got to get past the Denge to make sure he can clear that 3-second time penalty, and if not more penalties that he possibly got as well. A Denge is going to try and defend for the switchback, and it looks like it worked for him going into the second part of the corner, and I think that's helped him more wonders than not, really, as he stays in 5th place, whereas Jonathan Cox has to sell for 6th place for now, unfortunately. He's not going to get the clear air that he wants to reduce that penalty.
Yeah, these two are on the same age of tyres, and you can just see the battle behind between Silent Ace and Cassie G for 7th and 8th, where Silent Ace on the slightly fresher tyres, so he'll be, I think, hoping that he can get away from Cassie G a bit and maybe get onto the back of those cars ahead of him. They're the main battles we're seeing in the field at the moment. But with 10 laps remaining, is Louis Welsh. He's just about to come on to make it 9 laps remaining. 13.3 seconds his lead at the moment over Josh. Koala in 3rd place, and Furhan is quickly after that 3rd position. I think we're going to see a battle soon for 11th and 12th as well between Alan and Vitinho, because Alan on those soft tyres quickly managed to work his way up the order. Jonathan Cox all over the back of Andenge, as you'd expect him to be after that second DRS straight, but he's just ran wide. That's going to cost him some momentum. Andenge won't be able to get a second ahead, but I think Jonathan Cox has to be right on the back of Andenge's rear wing coming through turn 1 to have any chance, because Andenge, he was fair with his defence last time, moved over to the inside and then moved back towards the racing line, but he left the 1 car length, which you have to do, and he's trying it again to just break the toe of Jonathan Cox.
Yeah, indeed, and he's doing his best, of course. He's trying to break the slipstream. Is he going to do the same defence as he did in the last lap? He doesn't, but luckily, Jonathan Cox is not good on pace. But look at Jonathan now in this part of the circuit. He's doing amazingly well. This could be a Denge's to lose, and here comes Jonathan Cox. He's trying to go for the send there. Did not quite work. A Denge tried to go for the defensive move once again, defending to the right and then to the left, and that's worked even well for him at the moment. But that was very close for Jonathan Cox. He's really hungry for this move. I think he doesn't want to get held up too much, because we've got Cassie G in the mix as well that could nick P6 from Jonathan Cox due to that penalty, so he's got to be careful Cassie G doesn't eat into his time that much.
Yeah, Cassie G just managing to get ahead of Silent Ace, and he has broke away a tiny bit here, so Silent Ace might soon, instead of paying attention to those ahead, might have to start worrying about Paulie Orange in 9th position. So we're seeing now Jonathan Cox, can he close up? And again, he's all over the back of Andenge, just taking a tighter line there through turn 14. That just makes him run wide slightly. I think last time was definitely the closest he's got, but he was very fair, was Andenge, I must say, coming through turn 4. But I think both these drivers know that if you're on the inside and you just tap the rear of the car in front, you usually find yourself spinning around, and Jonathan Cox could easily lose 1, 2, perhaps even 4, 3 places. You see again, Andenge breaking the slipstream. I'm surprised Jonathan Cox isn't following more aggressive, try and get that slipstream in the early stages of the straight, because that can make all the difference. Because I think again he's just going to run out of road, but he was very quick through turn 3 last time around, and again he's all over the back of that Alfa Romeo. You can see the nice fancy calligraphy on the back of that rear wing of Andenge, but this time Jonathan Cox has to settle to stay in 6th position. He's got a much better exit though, there's just no room on the outside.
No, there isn't, of course. They're absolutely fine for every fibre they're being right now. There's pretty much a lot of battles going on this circuit, but this is a tasty one, the battle for 5th place. I mean, I don't know who to call this right now. I think the more they try to push, Cassie G could catch up. So I'm a bit worried for Jonathan Cox right now.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. He's now in the DRS, but didn't get the best exit through turn 10, and he's going to have to be very brave down the inside. You can see him just slowly closing, because I think Andenge just run out of VRS deployment here. There's contact between the two of them. Andenge switched back there. Don't think he expected Jonathan Cox to be there, and that was a bit like what the two Red Bulls did in Azerbaijan a few years ago. A lot of movement out on track between the attacker and the defender, and Jonathan Cox now has damage to his front wing. It's only a missing end plate, so it might not be worth him pitting, because it's quite a long pit lane here at Russia. Further up though, we've got a battle for 3rd place, but I don't think it'll be a battle for too much longer. Ferhan with the better tyres tries to go down the inside into turn 2, not really alongside Koala though. He's still trying to hold that position. Can Ferhan go all the way outside at turn 3? He should have the tyre grip to do so. That'll give him the inside for 4, and he's already got the move done. He is up into 3rd place, and Jonathan Cox did pit in the end. He's gonna go on the soft tyres, try and get the fastest lap, but I think he could have held on for a bit longer. I'm not really sure why he's done that.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, to be honest, but it's a bit of a shame that they made contact, and that costed Jonathan Cox to get one of his best results of the season. Well, it's a bit of a shame, really, but hopefully he can pick himself up. And a point is better than no point at the end of the day. But he could be on the chance of getting more points. But maybe he had a bit more damage than possibly needed, and he would have lost more time to Cassie G as well. So maybe Jonathan could be faster than the others, but there's quite a few people inside the top 10 now also on the softs as well, so like Ferhan, so but no one else in his range is on the soft tyre, so he doesn't need to worry about them there. But yeah, he's got a lot of ground to make up, but let's hope he can do it.
Yeah, he's on for 1 point at the moment. Should get 2 points by getting ahead of Avilu, given the better tyres, and could possibly get 3 points with the fastest lap, which is currently belonging to this man. 16.3 seconds in the lead of the race with 6 laps remaining. It looks though it's going to be safe for Lewis to take his first win in his first race here at FOR. Paulie Orange has managed it, Westy managed it, Thomas managed it, Ferhan managed it as a reserve, and it looks like Louis is going to do it as well. Further down the field though, Aylin has finally got ahead of Vitinho for 11th place. On those soft tyres, they're beginning to get a bit more worn out now, so I'm not sure Aylin will be able to get further up the field, especially if he cuts over the curve and gets a few more of them time penalties. We're looking now on board with Silent Ace. He's in 7th, and despite having fresher tyres than Cassie G, ever since Vittorio Rossov's got ahead, he's not really been able to challenge to get back that what is now 6th place, and I think if he wasn't for the DRS, he might be under threat from Paulie Orange.
Yeah, I think so as well. Paulie Orange having a great comeback despite his drive-through penalty he got earlier on. But imagine what Paulie Orange would have done if he didn't get that drive-through. He would have been on for a podium. But still, it's not about where you start, it's about where you finish. And to be honest, he's driving with all his might to make sure he catches up of course, but I think Silent Ace has got a lot of work to do to make sure Paulie Orange doesn't catch up. Of course, Cassie G and Silent Ace. Silent Ace got the DRS. Is he going to make the run into turn 12? No, he's not. He's staying back for the time being as we're on the final few laps of this Grand Prix, of course, and it's getting very, very intense, I must say. And this could change the outcome for some drivers in the championship in terms of positions. It's not just about the championship winner, it's also about the other positions in the championship as well. That could make a difference too.
Yeah, we have got close battles all throughout the field. Droftas and Alan and Thomas very close for 4th, 5th and 6th between them, and Den's not too far behind, so he'd actually look at the moment to possibly, I think, move up into that 4th place in the championship. As now Silent Ace, he's got the DRS open, and you can see him just sweep down the inside of Cassie G. That Toro Rosso, no defence this time around. Maybe these two could use DRS to their advantage, because if they battle with just the DRS, it won't cost them too much time. If they start squabbling around the rest of the circuit, you can be assured that Paulie Orange had managed to drag his way up. So yeah, but Droftas, Alan Thomas and Denge pretty close in the championship. Jonathan Cox a bit on his own at the moment. Obviously some of those that have only just started in the championship, it's very close towards the back of the field, and this will be Koala's best result, and this will be a big help for Red Bull at the moment. 21 points behind Williams, and they're currently on for 38 points, I believe, with Louis having that fastest lap. So this will really help them close up to all those guys ahead and close the gap to Renault. When we saw Josh and Pedro join the league, we thought that it might end up with Renault running away things in the Constructors' Championship. We were right in a sense for the few races, but it looks like their streak of extending their lead could end tonight.
It could be, actually, because we got 2 Red Bulls in the top 4 in this race, and that could out massively. And I mean, it's going to be very close. Red Bull can move from 5th in the standings to potentially 2nd or 1st. So, you know, I mean, that'll probably be the biggest jump I've seen in the constructors that I've ever seen commentating, I must say. But again, that'll be Koala's best result this season, which I'm sure we'll be happy with. Right now, he got an 8th in his debut last week in Singapore, and he's going to increase that by 4 places in P4. Right now, I don't think he's going to lose P5, and I don't think he's going to get P3. So P4 is where it stands for him right now, of course. But there's not much battling happening at the moment, but we can still see a battle for Jonathan Cox and Ibilu going very near at the moment, as Jonathan's obviously on the soft tyres. He's going for fastest lap and that extra point. Louis has a time penalty, but that's probably not going to affect him because he's at 18 seconds clear of Josh right now. So yeah, nothing to worry about there. YBRs were tied from the session. Don't know what happened there. That is turn 1, I think. Turn 2, I don't even know.
Turn 16, he did just get a 3-second penalty for corner cutting, so I wonder if he's pushed a bit too hard on them soft. So that is virtual safety car number 4, which might just save Ibilu for a bit longer as he tries to get his first points of the season. If I was him, once Jonathan Cox starts getting anywhere near the back, I'd just let him by. You don't want to lose any time defending. You see Jonathan Cox. Right, there is a VSC on at the moment, mate. I wouldn't try and go for that overtake. You don't want to lose a front wing under the virtual safety car. This might help Silent Ace and Cassie G defend as well for Paulie Orange. So on lap 25 of the race, as you can see, Louis, he's just coming around now the end of Sector 1. So just over 2.5 laps remaining. We've still got 13 runners left, 5 retirements. YBR we've seen crash out, as did Droftas. Westy and Michael Pace retired in the pit lane, and Ruley crashed out early on. But we're back to green flag racing once again. Cassie G came back probably at the worst possible time because he just lost a bit of momentum there to Silent A. So he's running out of chances to try and get himself up into 6th place, and I think that would be his best finish of the season. Yes, he made his debut a few races. No, he actually got a 4th place, sorry, in Italy as a reserve. So he's been in 3 different teams and he's managed to get points with 2 of them, it looks like, so far, as Jonathan Cox does indeed get past Ibilu. Like I said, Toro Rosso not really fighting it. He's 9 seconds ahead of Alan. I know they both have at least 1 penalty, but as long as Ibilu, I think, keeps it fairly clean in these final stages, he should be looking good to possibly get his first points of the season. The big battle out on track is, can Cassie G close up to Silent Ace? I think Paulie Orange is just going to run out of laps to make this a 3-way battle.
Yeah, I think it's cost him a bit more time than not, really. But we'll have to wait and see, of course. But meanwhile, Cassie G is, I think, losing time to Paulie Orange. Actually, I think Paulie Orange, is probably a little bit of a saving grace for Cassie G because Paulie Orange has lost time. So we'll have to wait and see. But this is getting so tense between the midfield. I think this is one of those races where the midfield battle has been more intense than the front runners, but that's what you get in Russia sometimes.
Yeah, obviously with Louis getting away, he's been the class of the field, and Josh has been second best, but he's been comfortably second best in the way of that he's not looked at any point as if he was going to lose that second position, but he has picked up a few penalties, as we hear the DRFB again on Cassie G's car. Is he able to close up to Silent Ace? And you can see he's looking to the inside, just reminding the Ferrari driver that he is there on this penultimate lap, but not able to do anything this time around. There was a battle further down the field between Aylan and Bettino, but I think Aylan is now safe from that place. Paulie Orange, he really wants these two to start fighting tooth and nail at the moment, maybe just running a bit wide as well, to just get himself up close to the back of them, because obviously with Cassie G having DRS, that is stopping Paulie Orange being able to close the gap.
Yeah, I think it's too little too late for Paulie Orange, really. I think they're going to hope that they're going to probably crash into each other by the looks of things, or even have a little bit of a more of a scrap. But to be honest, we don't know about penalties for some of these guys. Even though Paulie Orange has got a few, there may be some more penalties up front for Cassie G and Silent Ace, so it could be that he still could get P7, but he needs to find a way to close the gap between those two anyway, so we could gain more time than not on this final lap, as Louis just started the final lap of this race. Now 19 seconds clear of his next rival of Josh M97 in the Renault.
Yeah, so it looks as though barring anything ridiculous happening, Louis will take the win here. The main battle for position, though, is this one for 6th, 7th, and Paulie Orange, I think he might just... Ooh, it's going to be very marginal with DRS range. In fact, he's just outside of it, so that could be the difference whether he moves his way up the field. Cassie G not close enough to have a go on Silent A, so he's only going to have one more realistic opportunity, and that is heading down through turn 12 into turn 13 at the end of the back straight. Currently heading through those corners right now, though, is Louis. He has looked absolutely fantastic, dominated qualifying, and it has been the dominant race performance from the debutant. I think quite a few of these guys will be glad that he's only been able to join for the last few races, so he won't be able to win the championship, because he would definitely be a contender as Louis crosses the line, takes the victory here in Russia in FOR. Silent Ace has managed to get away from Cassie G actually through that first sector, so he's now broken for DRS, so he looks safe for 6th out on track, but penalties could well change that. Cassie G may have to go defensive from Paulie Orange, although the Haas has no ERS at the moment. Josh is going to come across the line in 2nd place, but he has got a few penalties, so if Verhan's kept this clean, he might steal 2nd place off the Renault, and that is exactly what has happened.
Well done to Verhan for getting his 2nd top 2 of pretty much the last 2 races. That's insane, and he's got more points than Josh in the last 2 races. That's saying something, as I don't think Silent Ace is going to have the run on a Denge right now, and I don't think Cassie G is going to get the move either. Paulie Orange has got less penalties than both of them, so he's up into 6th like I would have thought. I thought Paulie Orange had less penalties than them, and they did, so that's helped him. Jonathan Cox, he started 10th place. He hoped he would have gained more places, but he's now, I think, going to get 9th place, unless he's got more penalties than Arhan in 10th place, of course. But that means, unfortunately, is Billy going to get his first point of the season? No, he's not. Oh, wait. No, he's not. Oh, he just missed out. 12th place.
I think Habilo actually had a chunk of penalties, and he might have been off track towards the end, because Aylan gained a lot of time on him. No one could gain any time, though, on Louis. He takes the victory, and we've seen a Red Bull driver put a finger up to the cameras many times before. He is victorious here today. Verhan, again, showing some great form, but Josh might have only finished 3rd in that race, but his main championship rival Westy retired, and Paulie Orange was only in the lower reaches of the points. So here are the Provisional results then. Louis with the win. Furhan second. Josh in third. Koala moving up 3 places to get his best finish with 4th. And Denge finishing in 5th. He's always there or thereabouts in the points. Paulie Orange recovering to 6th despite a drive-through penalty. Could he have featured on the podium? Cassie G 7th. Silent Ace 8th. Jonathan Cox 9th. Alan just getting in the points with 10th. Vitinho 11th. Hibilu finishing down in 12th. Thomas was a lap down. YBR, Drofdas, Westy, Michael Pace and Ruley were the retirements. It's safe to say there was a lot of action in that race.
I think it was. I think it gets better. To be honest, Singapore had a lot of action and so did Russia as well. I think I enjoyed these last few races, I must say. A great job for all the drivers. Shame about the retirements, but to be honest, that's what Russia does for you. And again, a debutant wins, and that is in the forms of Louis. I mean, how's he going to do with the final 5 laps? He could be a threat to gaining some points on himself and not gain points on either Westy or Josh, maybe, because I think Josh and Westy lost a huge chunk of points due to Louis' victory. That could be Josh maybe getting wins, not getting wins potentially due to Louis, but we'll have to wait and see, of course. But we could have a good battle between Louis and Josh in these final couple of races. I'm looking forward to seeing what comes of those two.
Yeah, definitely indeed. It was very exciting. There might not be battles up through the front of the field, but it was good to see how the strategy worked out as well, because obviously Furhan went for that alternative strategy, and in the end he has snuck a 2nd place from that. Yeah, definitely. We're just going to try and get the top 2 drivers into the party because, unfortunately, Josh unable to join us tonight. And it'll be interesting to hear from them, especially to see how nervous maybe Furhan got in that qualifying session, because it could have been oh so different for him. Remember, he was less than a 10th off getting knocked out in that 2nd qualifying session. I've suggested them to you. I mean, I have no idea what suggesting players does to anyone, but there we go.
I haven't even done this in 8. I forgot. It was my fault. I forgot I was hosting a party.
No worries at all, and it was definitely a fantastic race from some of those guys. We saw some great battles there as well. Obviously, Andenge and Jonathan Cox was fantastic. It's a shame it ended with front wing damage for Jonathan Cox. Be interested to see if the stewards have to say anything about that. We've got Jess Wings saying it was an amazing race, and yeah, the midfield really showed some great action with the battling.
Yeah, I think obviously Singapore was at the front, whereas midfield.
Yeah, definitely. So Louis is joining now. So we are going to have the top 2, at least, from the race in this party. Louis with the win. Furhan with 2nd. Not really going to be having a say on how the Drivers' Championship goes, but for both their teams tonight, it was great for them in the Constructors.
To FOR, shouldn't we, Luke?
Yeah, we'll see how he felt with that race, because it just seemed like a standard relaxing weekend drive for you there out in front, Louis.
Might go get a coffee mid race, maybe.
Should have probably fetched me one as well. No, obviously fantastic results from yourself as well. Were there any points in the race that you maybe felt a bit nervous, or did you seem to have it in control? Because you looked pretty fast on the soft tyres, but it just seemed that you were able to push the gap out even more after you pitted and went onto the mediums.
I was a bit worried that I was 8/10 clearing quali, and then I could barely break out of DRS in the race. But and then obviously with Farhan starting third, I didn't know how quick he'd be towards the end of the race or how quick he was anyway. So a couple of moments where I thought I might have lost it, but luckily everyone had penalties, and I was closed the gap.
They've done fantastic. Another debutant winner, which seems to be a bit of a theme here. We're going to have to try and find someone really fast now for Japan to try and get in. I'll just span the 24-hour virtual Le Mans chat and just see if any of them are free next weekend. Who knows? Yeah, Louis, how hard is it sometimes to keep concentration when there's all these VSC periods? Because we did seem to have a lot of them in this race.
Oh, they were so annoying because I wanted to go for fastest lap on the softs because I thought Verhan would take it again or someone else would pit towards the end. And then the last VSC that come out, I just passed the pit lane, so I couldn't pit. And then I had the fastest lap anyway. So
yeah, in the end, you did get the fastest lap. So 26 points for yourself today, and that's really going to help Red Bull in the constructors. And with Koala finishing fourth as well, you guys must be feeling pretty good that you can challenge Renault.
I haven't really looked at the standings, but by the sounds of it, we're quite close to the top. So maybe towards the end of the season, it'll be quite close.
Yeah, it could get very close indeed. So congratulations on your first win, and congratulations also to Farhan, second position. Were you getting a bit nervous at the end of Q2 because you were less than a tenth for heading out?
Yeah, it was a bad strategy to go to the mediums. It was very stupid.
If it's stupid and it works, it's not stupid.
Nah, the tire is very shit.
Yeah, they were pretty bad indeed. Yeah. So, but you managed to do well on the mediums in the first stint, and then get ahead of Koala pretty comfortably as well. Did you realise Josh had as many penalties as he did?
Yeah. Jeff told me that you have 12 second time penalty, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in the end you got second position. How are you going to try and prepare for Japan? Do you think you'll be able to do anything a bit different around there to maybe make it less comfortable for Louis next weekend?
Louis is too fast. He's too fast. Drive with 50% throttle and then I can win, maybe. Maybe.
Yeah, mate, I think we'll have to send Louis a cheap £5 PS4 controller next week and tell him he has to race with that. But who knows, maybe he'll still win. So congratulations to both of you on how you did today, on fantastic results for both of you. So well done.
Thank you.
So yeah, Jess, the great race obviously from Louis. Just like to apologise for some of the language they used by Farhan. It's amazing the words people can pick up that are commonly used by us English folk sometimes. But yeah, Louis obviously fantastic job today. Farhan doing great on that strategy. But Josh, he won't complain too much with third place because he's really extended his lead in the championship ahead of Westy. I'm just going to quickly try and work it out now. And yeah, Josh now has a 21-point lead all of a sudden.
Yeah, so he extended he didn't even need to get the win in order to extend his lead, which was great to see as well. And surely he would have wanted the win, but I think P3, I think he'll be happy with that. And I think obviously the gap, I think, is going to get even more important as the final races emerge, really. So I think Westy, he's got a lot of work to do, I think. I think that mistake in Russia might have costed him.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, I think, for him to try and come back now, because we've seen how consistent Josh is. And if we want a track that's maybe the complete opposite of Russia when it comes to the type of runoff area, you've got lots of nice tarmac here at Russia. In Japan next week, there's a lot more gravel traps and some very tricky corners indeed. It's a real driver's circuit, and I'm sure it'll be a fantastic race.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Japan. One of my favourite races on the game, as well as Austria and Belgium and Monza and lots of other places. So to commentate at least, and you know, it's kind of like a fan favourite in a way as well. So it's been actually for many title deciders, but obviously not next week. But should bring out, and I think Japan is one of those tracks where we could see a little bit of a sprinkle as well, because it's quite common on this game to have a bit of changeable conditions or even a bit of rain. But we'll have to wait and see next week, of course.
Yeah, I mean, quite often around Japan, it is not a sprinkle of rain, it is a lot of rain that sometimes come around there. That will make it a bit tougher for some of these drivers. It might make it a bit tougher for Louis even, because he'll be looking to make it 2 wins out of 2 next time round. He'll be happy with his performance, but it's Josh who has extended his championship lead. Thanks again to Jess for coming with me tonight. Thanks also to our sponsors, MIXT Energy and Player One Coffee. You can check both of them out in the description below. And thank you to everyone for watching. Hopefully we'll see you all next week in the land of the rising sun for what I'm sure will be another fantastic FOR race. Good night.